Here is what most textbooks get wrong. Rome didn't fall in 470 CE. That is when the last Western emperor abdicated. But the Roman Empire continued to flourish with its new capital of Constantinople, keeping Rome alive for another 1,000 years.
Istanbul, before it was Istanbul, was known as Constantinople. And Constantinople was the capital of the Roman Empire for 1,123 years. It was founded by Constantine the Great, the famous emperor who embraced Christianity as his official religion. And he built this capital here in the rich east. So this city once used to be the Roman capital for longer than Rome.
But how does this impossible city came to be? To understand Constantinople's 1,000-year dominance, we need to go back to the moment it was born, in the mind of a man facing impossible odds. October 28, 312 CE. Tomorrow, Constantine either wins the Roman Empire or dies trying. According to multiple ancient sources, tonight he experienced a vision that literally changed the map of the world. Constantine didn't just see a cross in the sky, he saw a message: in this sign, conquer. The next day, he painted it on 40,000 shields and attacked Rome.
This is the Milvian Bridge. So in 312, Maxentius was the reigning emperor in Rome, and so Constantine came from the north. Maxentius destroyed part of this bridge, but he built a small plume bridge right on the river Tiber. And as Constantine's forces were approaching, they were retreating, and the plume bridge failed, and Maxentius drowned, and Constantine had a victory.
So what does Constantine do next? He creates something unprecedented, a permanent eastern capital to rival anything the empire has ever built. Historians call this one of the most audacious political decisions in human history. His search was methodical. Troy was mythical but had too much historical baggage. Alexandria was too Greek and Egyptian. Thessalonica wasn't grand enough. Then he found it, Byzantium, where Europe kisses Asia, where you can control 3 seas with 1 city. Strategic perfection. May 11, 330 CE. Constantine dedicates his Romanova. But how do you convince an empire to ditch a 1,000-year-old capital? He hacked human psychology with urban planning. Every street was a propaganda machine. Every monument was a mind game.
Behind me, it's a stone of 1,000,000. This was a gateway arch. It measured all the distances in the Roman Empire. This stone here used to be a ceremonial place where all the foreign embassies would come into the city and meet with the emperor. Right now, there's not much left, but here it was the arch, and there was most likely images of Constantine and his mother Helena on top of it. But unfortunately, it got destroyed by the Ottoman and other conquerors.
From the Milvian, a grand avenue led to a series of forums designated to awe any visitors. First, Constantine's own forum with a towering monument to himself.
Behind me is this column of Constantine. This was the first column that Constantine erected in order to commemorate the brand new capital of the Roman Empire, as he called the Roma Nova, or the New Rome. This column was over 34 meters high, and he placed it on the Forum of Constantine, which no longer exists today. The column had Constantine on top of it as Sol Invictus, which was the sun god, as he was kind of protecting over the whole city. And some legends say that it holds the relic of the true cross.
Further down the Messe, his successors continued the tradition. Emperor Theodosius created a large public square for all, a massive space for military triumphs.
This right here is one of the columns of Theodosius Forum. This area here was the largest area where all the emperors paraded, and there were a lot of public gatherings in the ancient Forum. This was built in the late 4th century by the Emperor Theodosius. Theodosius was one of the last emperors during the United Roman Empire. After Theodosius, the empire split to the so-called the Byzantine Empire, or the Eastern Roman Empire. The center of this forum included triple arch. We know that from the inscriptions, and we also have a giant statue about 36 meters tall that had an image of Theodosius holding the globe as him being the ruler of the world.
But to understand how all these pieces fit together and how the city survived for 1,000 years, we need to zoom out. From an archaeological perspective, the city's geography is the key to its power. The city is a natural fortress, a triangular peninsula defended by water on 2 sides. To the south, the Sea of Marmara. To the north, a Golden Horn, a perfect defensible harbor. This left only one approach by land, which the Romans would seal with the legendary walls. For 200 years, Constantine's psychological warfare worked perfectly. The city grew rich, powerful, and untouchable. Then in 532 CE, that very power nearly destroyed everything, because in Constantinople, even chariot races were political, and this one would leave 30,000 dead. January 13, 532 CE, Day 1, chariot race. Day 3, half of the cities burning. Day 5, 30,000 dead in the Hippodrome. Historians call this the closest the Eastern Roman Empire ever came to a total collapse.
Behind me is the Hippodrome of Constantinople. This Hippodrome was built by Septimius Severus in 203 CE, and it was later expanded by Constantine when he made the capital of the new Roman Empire. And over here to my right is the column of Constantine the Great. It was erected in the 10th century, and this part here was usually plagued by bronze, but it was pillaged by the Crusaders in 1203 when they came in to Constantinople instead of going down to Jerusalem.
But this arena, decorated with ancient treasures, was the political heart of the city. The racing teams, the blues and the greens, were more like political parties with private armies. And in 532 CE, something unprecedented happened according to Procopius. Blues and greens united against Emperor Justinian. The city exploded. They burned the Senate house and destroyed the Hagia Sophia. Picture this. Your husband is the most powerful man on earth, and he is about to run away because of the sports ride. Theodora, former circus performer, current empress, looks him dead in the eyes and says, "Purple makes a fine burial shroud. I'd rather die as an empress than live as a coward." Justinian state. General Belisarius sealed every Hippodrome exit, systematically killed 30,000 rioters where they sat. Procopius reports that when it was over, blood pooled ankle deep in the arena sand. But here's the plot twist that blows historians' mind. From the massacre, Justinian built something so magnificent that the Norse raiders saw it, they thought they found Valhalla. His first act was to restore the city's original cathedral, the Church of Holy Peace, which has also been damaged.
This is the church of Hagia Irene, or the Church of the Holy Peace. It was actually the original basilica. The first Christian church built in Constantinople was built by Constantine himself. This church, after Constantinople was conquered in 1453, it became an armory. So this one is the one that preserved its look as it was in the beginning. It was later fixed after the riots by Justinian, but everything is here looks pretty much the same. You can see a big cross on top. That was from the time of the iconoclasm. They removed the image of Christ the Pantocrator with the cross. So another thing that happened here at this place is the Second Church Council, and it is here where they reaffirmed the Nicene Creed and also added the Holy Spirit as part of the Trinity.
But next door, Justinian created his masterpiece. On December 27, 537 CE, the new Hagia Sophia opened, creating what architectural historians called an engineering miracle.
Behind me is the Hagia Sophia, the church that has been the largest church in Christendom for over 1,000 years. When Justinian wanted to rebuild the church, he wanted to outdo Solomon. So he hired two mathematicians and they created a dome that's hanging on golden chains from heaven. The church itself, it fell in the hands of the Crusaders in 1204 during the Fourth Crusade when they decided to go to Constantinople instead of going to Jerusalem. They sacked the city and they turned it into a Catholic cathedral for over 54 years. The historians call this one of the darkest times in the history of this church.
The engineering was revolutionary. Architects Anthemius and Isidore developed preventive construction that distributed 31 million pounds of dome weight through invisible support. This pushed Eastern Roman engineering beyond anything previously imagined. For 900 years, this defined what a church could be. But Justinian understood that magnificent buildings meant nothing if your people died of thirst.
Behind me is the aqueduct of Emperor Valens. He lived in about 4th century, right after Constantine, and he was in charge of supplying the city with water. So he built this 29-meter high aqueduct. It has several floors right now, and the water would cascade down. This is part of a 250 kilometers of water system that would supply the water to the city of Constantinople. They would supply water into different cisterns, including the Basilica Cistern. And the Emperor Valens wasn't just an important builder of churches, he was also one who supplied a lifeline to this city. And so that's why it is very, very important. And this aqueduct survived many different empires, the Byzantines, Crusaders, later the Ottomans, and it's still in use. And today the cars are going through, but this structure has survived all the earthquakes and all the different empires.
But Roman engineers knew the fatal flaw. Aqueducts can be cut. The solution was brilliant. Massive underground storage that could sustain 1 million people for months. If enemies cut your aqueducts, they'd wait for a surrender that would never come.
This here is the Basilica Cisterns, which was built by Justinian I right after the riots in the 6th century, and it is spectacular. It could hold over 80,000 cubic feet of water. This is absolutely magnificent. All these columns, they're all taken from the ancient pagan temples, so they all don't match. And the most important things are the two Medusa's heads. One is sideways and the other one is upside down. There's no inscriptions on why this happened, but they just use those heads as a base.
This broke every siege for centuries. Enemy armies would show up, cut the water supply, and wait for Constantinople to surrender from thirst. Except the city never ran dry. Invaders had no idea they were standing on top of an underground lake. Yes, underground lakes could save you from thirst. But when 100,000 enemy soldiers show up with a siege engine, you need something even more impossible. Walls that could stop Scourge of God himself.
These walls were impenetrable for over 1,000 years. There have been several armies of Huns, the armies of Magyar, the Arab armies, even the Attila the Hun have come here, decided to turn back after they saw the walls of Constantinople, because everyone believed they were impenetrable.
These weren't walls, they were killing machines with a city attached. For an attacker, it was a nightmare. You had to cross a moat as wide as 6-lane highway, climb a 3-story outer wall, cross a death trap of open ground, and while being fired upon, just to reach the main 40-foot-high inner wall. But the city's defenses wasn't just about stone. It was 3-front war, land, sea, and psychology. To seal the harbor, they deployed a secret weapon of their own.
This is called a golden horn. This is a natural harbor right between the Galata Hill to my right and Constantinople on my left. So this made the city of Constantinople almost impossible to defeat. What happened is they had a seawall all along. Every 50 meters there was a tower. And from the Sirkeci station today, there was a chain going all the way in the direction of Galata Tower. The Galata side was owned by the Genoese and the city of Constantinople was owned by the Romans. This section right here was the port of Constantinople, and because of this massive chain, it was impenetrable.
For over a millennium, no army could crack Constantinople. Then in 1453, 21-year-old Mehmed II brought something new, the Basilica. A cannon so large it took 60 oxen to move and could fire 1,200-pound stone projectile. May 29, 1453, after 53 days of bombardment, the impossible happened. The walls cracked. Constantine XI, the last Roman emperor, threw off his purple robes and died fighting as a common soldier. After 2,206 years, the Roman Empire ended not in retreat, but in a battle that matched its greatest tradition. Constantinople's fall didn't just end an empire, it rewrote history. And here's the twist, the city itself never died. It just got a new management and kept making history. Greek scholars fleeing the fallen city with ancient texts from Plato and Aristotle landed in Italy, directly fueling the Renaissance. European merchants, now cut off from the Silk Road by the Ottoman Empire, were forced to find a new route to Asia. They sailed west and found America. Today, 15 million people call Istanbul home. You can still touch Constantine milestones, walk to Justinian cisterns, see where the last Roman emperor made its final stand. The city that Constantine built to last forever actually did. From Constantine's vision to Mehmed's canon, Constantinople proves that great cities embody humanity's most audacious dreams, creating something permanent in an impermanent world. It succeeded beyond its founder's wildest imagination. Rome did not fall in 476. It moved east, grew stronger for 1,000 years, and when it finally fell, the aftershock created the modern world. Not bad for a city that started with a dream. If you like this video, please share, subscribe, and comment. What do you think? What was the real end of the Roman Empire? And most importantly, keep digging.